So Jimmy Kimmel came back last night, and kind of like I thought he would. I didn't watch the whole monologue. I will later.
Talk about pressure, though.
Yes, and
Talk about pressure.
I loved how he handled that right out of the box with all these news clips of everybody saying, this is going to be the most anticipated monologue ever. This is going to be huge. This is the fight for free speech. This is goes through all of that. And I could see it coming. It was building to a joke. And then it's him and Guillermo, who's like his sidekick.
Yeah.
Dressed, one is a banana and one is like a
beaver,
like a furry,
some
like a
furry thing. Yeah.
So I thought that was really, and they're like, I guess we should change, like that they were just going to be jokey jokes all the time, and I love that because what a great way to knock down the pomposity and just go. Let's not forget, I'm just a comic. Like I realize we've put a lot on this, but I'm just a comedian here, and truth be told, he didn't come out swinging hard, at least not what I saw. Like he
honestly,
didn't go
to
on the
me,
attack.
he looked a little nervous. I could see that there was a lot of pressure there. Like,
well, he knew a lot of people would be watching,
and I think he shared. He felt misunderstood. He didn't feel like he was, God forbid, making light of a murder or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I've always loved him just because, his son is sick and things like that with heart issues. He's always very true to his emotions.
Sure. Well, he did get a little emotional last night.
I've been hearing a lot about what I need to say and do tonight. And the truth is, I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human. And that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion. And I meant it. I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't, ever.
So there's two things there for me. One, I don't think he did that.
He did not do that.
I don't think in what they're saying he was in trouble for.
Yeah.
I don't think he did either of those things.
Yeah.
Because I even had to go back and watch it.
Right.
Because he didn't even say that the killer was a part of MAGA. What he said was MAGA's trying hard to make sure that people don't think it was MAGA. Like that's, so that they were trying anything they could to show that it wasn't one of them, or was, and I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but didn't say it was one of them.
Yeah.
So that said, I don't think what he said that he thought it was going to be anything. And John Oliver, the host of Last Week with John Oliver, was his guest that night. He said, I came out that night. I didn't think anything of his monologue.
Right.
He said, and he goes, and I barely paid attention to it. I was in the back and, but he said, I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
That said, along those lines, now never to this extent, there's been a handful of times where I've said something on the radio that I think is innocuous.
Yeah.
And I've had one or two people come to me and be like really upset by it.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that it was anything. And I was like, and I love that the majority of the times, not every time, the majority of the times,
talk it out with you,
that they're willing to have a conversation and go, because here's me in a nutshell when I'm doing this show. 99% of the time, I'm more worried about getting laughed than I am anything else. Like, I really want to make people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
There's times that you and I get into real conversations.
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes if I see a laugh, I'm going to go for it. If I see a joke in there, I'm going to slide it in because it's how my brain works. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the best way was I forget what we were watching, where someone, I think it might have even been Seinfeld, described being a comic as like being allergic to something, and you can't help yourself. It just happens. The joke comes
Right.
out like as a sneeze, as an allergic reaction.
Yeah.
It just comes out. It's like it's there.
Mhm.
Ooh, there's an opening for it. I gotta slide it in. This is a funny part. So so I've, the times that I have upset people, it hasn't been, intended.
Well, I don't know when we decided that because someone gets in as a president now, everything they do is perfect,
Is
walking
correct.
on water,
Mhm.
correct. We
Mhm.
can't say anything. We don't live in China.
Right.
If you want to live like this, go to China,
Yeah.
or Russia.
Well, that's a whole nother
Like, but this is,
scary
I don't,
thing.
I just because whether or not I put you into office with my vote or not,
Mhm.
you're in.
Mhm.
That does not take away my right or my ability to say I don't agree with what you're saying.
Right.
The acetaminophen thing is ridiculous
Mhm.
with Tylenol.
Okay.
Like, there's just ridiculousness going on. Ridiculousness.
Mhm.
And so to me, as an American, I have a right to say that. I almost have an obligation to say that because we're in a democracy.
Mhm.
That's what we stand for. No violence. Protesting, yes,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I have a right to my opinion.
Mhm.
And you're not going to take that away from me because of this or that, the rest. You're not going to convert me to this, that, and the rest.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to agree with you. And that's my right.
That's
It's not like all of a sudden, oh, now you're part of a terrorist organization and we're going to come shut you down and quiet you.
Mhm.
That's not American. And
Mhm.
that's, I think, what his point was in the monologue. He said it is un-American
Mhm.
and undemocratic.
Mhm.
So feel what you want to feel. I'm going to feel the way I feel.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to sit here and wait for you to say, I'm not Christian enough. I'm not this
Mhm.
enough. You can't do that. You're too
Mhm.
progressive. You're, what, satan, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Goodbye.
Mhm.
No, I'm not.
Mhm.
No, I'm not.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's a strange thing when you can't uh parody power.
You
That's
say strange. I say scary as hell.
okay. I mean,
I mean, I
that's
just don't.
semantics. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah.
But I mean,
That's
I tried doing it
Mhm.
like by looking at it like, okay, it's one guy's opinion who
Mhm.
happens to be in the big house
Mhm.
in Washington. Yay.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when it's disrespectful coming back, or
Mhm.
when we're built up like, oh, everybody except our party is all wrong and needs to be wiped out,
Mhm.
that's a whole nother story,
Mhm.
a very scary story.
Mhm.
And that's never been the story of America. It's always been, okay, we're going in this direction because
Mhm.
that's the way the vote went. Do you know what?
Right.
And
Right.
now in 4 years later, we can overcorrect or not correct or
Yeah.
vote in a second term or whatever the heck we decide to do. But it's always been with our vote. And we've
Right.
always, I think, prided ourselves in like differences of opinion.
Mhm.
And there's more ways to skin the cat than just your way.
Right. Right. Uh, Kevin says it was all fake with Kimmel, fake crocodile tears. Kevin, I would love to know what makes you decide that. Like, and I think this is Kevin, who I just met out at Francisville Fall Festival.
Yeah.
And we chit chatted out there. I would love to, because that's where I get lost, and that's really what I'm talking about with the idea of people getting upset with things that I've said on the radio. Is they've decided how I think and feel based on a joke.
Right.
And I've been able to have conversations with people and work them out. I do remember, though, one of my favorite bosses. We had a credit union that was on with us, and the woman who ran the credit union was a huge fan of the show and a big sponsor of the show. And I had said on the radio,
Do we have credit unions around here?
I haven't seen one locally. Like I know
That's a
there's
shame. I
I know
love
there's a
credit
couple.
unions.
There's one in Wheatfield, I think. There's
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious just
Yeah.
because they're wonderful. Like in terms
Yeah.
of the whole thing is
Yeah.
usually very wonderful.
Yeah. So and one of the things that they're great about is that they're very independent, so they could do a lot of
Mhm.
things. So anyway, when Kanye West did the thing with George Bush on the charity thing, where he said George Bush hates black people, and it was on a charity event, and I went, that's not where you get to do this. You don't get to go on your charity thing, and that's a weird move. Now, this is where the idea of free speech and censorship are two different things. So I said he shouldn't have said that during that time. So we at the time had T-shirts. So what I was doing was I said, bring your kind of. I was doing like a kind of a parody of Steve Dahl Disco Demolition. I said, bring your Kanye CDs here to the station. If you give me a CD, I'll give you a T-shirt, and then we're gonna take all the CDs and we're gonna break them all up on the air. We're gonna crush them on the air. We'll get one of those, like, if we have enough of them, we'll get one of those street sweepers and we'll just crush all the CDs. Just having fun with it. How dare you that censorship against Kanye West and you're trying to censor his way of speaking and freedom of speech and this whole thing. And she, by the time I was done with the show, had called the general manager and pulled all her advertising from the radio show. And he said, okay, I didn't hear what he said yet. Let me talk to him after the show. And I told him, I said, I will talk to her, me personally, because this is me. I want to talk to her. So he said, okay, no problem. But let her know that if she does follow through on pulling her advertising, her rates will be doubled when she wants to come back. He said, because I know she's going to want to come back on your show, and we're not going to work that way. Just because you said something she didn't like, now all your advertising is gone. And it was the only time I ever worked for a general manager that was willing to do that and had the stones to do that. So, and she didn't pull, by the way, because again, we had a conversation.
Right.
We had a real conversation. Kevin says it felt like it was an act with him and not genuine. He's an actor. He retracted because of getting in trouble. Okay. I didn't see a retraction.
He didn't retract anything.
I didn't see a retraction. And I will ask Kevin, did you see what he said originally? It's, I mean, you're welcome to your opinion.
Sure.
You know, I don't think he's that good of an actor. He's a comedian. I don't think he's an actor. But I mean, I don't know about other people. I couldn't cry on demand. There's been a few times on the air that I've gotten emotional. I would say, I don't know Jimmy Kimmel personally, but
I
he'd
think
probably rather not get emotional in the middle of a monologue. I know I don't like when I get emotional on the air.
Well, I think that kind of goes to show you, like, that we bring some of our own stuff into it.
Sure,
as human
absolutely.
beings.
Yeah,
me,
we all do.
Me
yeah.
also. I'm not saying just Kevin.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
because I didn't get that at all,
and I don't think he got in trouble. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't think he was. I don't think he was worried about being suspended. Kevin says he's not really a good comedian either. Smiley face. That's totally subjective. Well,
and I really want to know if that's because what he stands for is not in alignment with what you believe, so you don't think it's funny, or if you don't think it's funny on its own.
But that's why, to me, comedy is so subjective.
Yes. Yeah.
I forever did not like Bill Maher.
Me neither. I thought he really had a smuggy, like holier than thou, and I'm like,
Yeah.
then he came out with religiosity, and I was like, all right, knock it off.
Well,
Like
see,
I
and that's
started to go,
and
that's
that's like
not
what
funny.
that's like what you're saying. Like, does it hit you in a place because you've
That's
got
why
a
I'm
feeling
asking.
about that, and you didn't
Right.
like when he made jokes about religion.
Right.
You don't like when I make jokes about religion.
Yeah, I do not like when he's like, oh, another Jesus thing, or what.
Yeah.
Careful, because
No, it
so
does
it
bother you.
yeah, it
Mhm.
bothers me because I'm like, some things are sacred,
Mhm.
and I don't like when you put it into I feel the same way when we talk.
Mhm.
Like,
For sure. Yep.
yeah, but that's one of the biggest things that we disagree about.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think everything's open for funny, you know.
See, and I don't. I
Mhm.
still remember all the jokes when the rocket ship we were watching as kids,
Challenger.
the Challenger
Mhm.
exploded.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I remember going, not funny,
Mhm.
not funny.
Yeah. Mhm.
And were they like funny if the Challenger hadn't blown up? Like,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain. Like,
No, I
I
know.
couldn't,
But that was always I mean, there was always, I mean, that's where the idea that it was too soon, came from. Like, I mean,
right,
that's,
right.
I mean, Gilbert
Yeah.
Gottfried was the king of that. Like, he tried to get onto to Twitter as fast as possible when a tragedy would happen to make a joke. It was just, that was
Yeah.
what he did. I thought it was funny. Jimmy Kimmel talked about his former radio boss reached out to him to see if he was okay. His former radio boss who had fired him, by the way.
I mean, I've heard from a lot of people over the last 6 days. The guy who fired me from my first radio job in Seattle, where we are not airing tonight, by the way, sorry, Seattle. His name is Larry. In 1989, Larry tried to force me to do a bit called Jokes for Donuts, where people would call in with a joke and I would give them donuts. I refused to do it, and then I made a lot of fun of Larry for suggesting it. And eventually, Larry fired me, and I had to move back in with my parents. But even he wrote in.
I did think it was funny too that he started off similar to Jack Parr. So Jack Parr, and forgive me if I don't get this completely correct for those that were around when it happened. He had a joke censored when he was the host of the Tonight Show, and about a water closet. And he was so upset about it that the next night he came on the program and walked off the Tonight Show live. The show was live, walked off the show and said, there's got to be a better way to make a living, and just left.
Whoa.
And his announcer was a gentleman by the name of Hugh Downs. You may remember him from the news. He later went on to do news and things, but he hosted the rest of the program that night, and he defended him and said, I hope this doesn't last forever. I think he's right. And, so, but he was censored by the networks, not by the government, not by the FCC.
Okay.
Back then, they didn't want to joke about a bathroom on late night TV. So he walked off, was gone for a month before coming back. When he came back, he said, as I was saying before I was interrupted, and that's how Jimmy Kimmel opened the show last night. So I thought,
Got it.
for those that don't know, that was really an homage to Jack Parr. And
Okay.
Jimmy Kimmel knows his late night. I mean, when he was a kid, his cake was a David Letterman cake. He loved David Letterman growing up. So, he knew what he wanted to do forever. So I did not see this part. He also talked about Erica Kirk last night.
Over the weekend, a very beautiful moment. I don't know if you saw this on Sunday. Erica Kirk forgave the man who shot her husband. She forgave him. That is an example we should follow. If you believe in the teachings of Jesus, as I do, there it was. That's it. A selfless act of grace, forgiveness from a grieving widow. It touched me deeply.
Yeah. So, I think I think he really felt that way, and I don't think he was really funny last night in the parts that I saw. I don't think he meant to be. I think there's been a handful of times, and again, like you said, making it personal, been a handful of times that I've come on the radio and talked genuinely from the heart, and I'm not being funny at that time, and I think this is one of those times for him. There's times when things just hit you and they get so big, because I don't think he thought that this was big. And other than the idea that the government tried to take him off the air, That is a big deal, and I'm glad to see that it didn't
Yeah.
happen, and I hope that that pushback continues, because I'm actually fine with Nexstar choosing not to air a show and Sinclair choosing not to air a show. I don't agree with them on the reasoning for it, because I do think that's governmental and political, but I do agree with their power to do it, because as a station owner, I would not want anyone else to tell me what I have to air and not
What your
air.
programming
Right.
would look like.
And so that's their choice to do that. The reasoning for it, I disagree with, but that's a different
So
thing
what
than
happens-
the FCC saying that he has to be off the air.
Okay, so what's the recourse for people who live in Seattle who want to see Jimmy Kimmel?
Hulu and Disney.
Got it.
You watch it
So-
the next day.
Got it. So it's
You find
not
it
like
streaming.
you. Okay, so
Mhm.
you're going to stream it. That's all.
Yeah, that's your workaround.
Okay, so then if that's your workaround, does that send a message to can the same way they want to affect the bottom line
Mhm.
by censoring him?
Mhm.
Is that the same methodology that people can say, all right, Sinclair, game on? Or Nexstar,
Meaning what?
game on. I'm going to shut you down the way you shut us down. So how do you do that? Meaning, how do you tell them, how does a common person, you and
Mhm,
I,
mhm,
okay,
mhm,
if we lived in that area,
mhm.
right?
Mhm.
They're not showing Jimmy Kimmel. Now I'm ticked off because I can't see Jimmy Kimmel and I believe it's censorship.
Mhm.
What's my way to, how do I affect this?
You can not watch their channel. I mean, that's really about it. You know.
So there's really no direct way to affect
I mean, there's
them in the pocketbook per
I mean,
se.
old school. You can boycott anyone that sponsors their stations. Like boycott those businesses. Let those businesses know, if you're going to advertise on a Sinclair station, I'm not going to purchase your goods.
Right, but that makes no sense because that hurts the people with the goods, not the people, not Sinclair.
But it tells those people with the goods
Yeah.
to not advertise on Sinclair.
Right, except if their demographics in there, I would argue that they.
Then
I mean,
then
I don't
that's
want to.
business.
Correct.
That's business over principle. Like if you're
Yeah, I'm just wondering because I'm like,
here-
what recourse does a person have to say, you know what, I'm that's great, and I'm ticked off. I want my programming to be my programming. I don't.
Mhm. But whether or not I agree with their principles,
Mhm.
Sinclair and Nexstar are sticking to their principles.
Correct.
They're saying,
Right. If I don't agree with their principles,
they're
then
saying, okay, we still disagree with what Jimmy Kimmel says, so we're not putting him on our airwaves. That's
Okay.
their choice. That's their thing.
Okay.
But it's the same as people who said, when all this happened, okay, I'm canceling my Disney and Hulu because it's owned by Disney, and they shut down Jimmy Kimmel.
okay, wait a minute. How is that? Because that seems like it's a direct thing.
Well, it is.
So, but there isn't a
but that's-
direct thing to do
because
about
Sinclair isn't like pay for TV. Disney and
is
yeah,
right is
so-
streaming services.
which, by the way, one of the funniest jokes I saw was Jon Stewart on Monday night said, Jimmy Kimmel's coming back. All of you pretending that you were going to cancel your Hulu worked. He said, because all of you tried to binge watch Only Murders in the Buildings, all 5 seasons in one day. So even Howard Stern said, he goes, it sounds stupid. He goes, I realize it sounds stupid, but he said, I canceled my Disney Plus today. It's just a little thing I could do, Now, Howard Stern's smart enough to know it's not a little thing he can do because he just said it on his airwaves to thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So he knew exactly what he was doing,
Yeah.
So
I guess
and
I'm
he's someone
just-
who's dealt with censorship a few times. So
I don't know.
he's been hit in the face by it a couple of times here and there. So, yeah. I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm struck by it
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know.
in so many ways. Like, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
knock, knock. Hi,
Mhm.
it's Jesus. Love
Mhm.
your enemies and love each other and love your enemies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like,
I know.
I'm like, what? How are we here?
I know. It's enough to give you a headache. And I don't even know what I can take. Can I take acetaminophen? I don't know.
No.
Life is